As a special education teacher for 10 years, this is a tool that I've always thought should be available to teachers as a way to manage their caseloads. In the beginning of the school year, I've always created countless spreadsheets to track progress, copied their goals, copied their service minutes, um, figured out ways to be able to track progress so I can not create progress reports from memory when it was time to create those progress reports. And then I found by October, none of those spreadsheets were being used. And then I was creating progress reports from memory, and some of those weren't the best progress reports that I could have sent out. SDI schedules were always inconsistent, and they weren't um, easy for me to create in a way that would best serve students. So I created this tool. I've used it. I think it's a great way to manage caseloads. So I'm going to go through it today. I'm going to show you the different aspects of it, and just a way to better manage caseloads that make sense to for special education specifically. So here you can see the main dashboard. We have students, services, and then the minutes you owe per week based on student schedules or student services or SDI minutes. And then left here we have our caseload. And these are all fake students. No real data is in here. But anyway, so these are all a 10 student caseload. We can see how many minutes per week each student is owed. And we can see an overview of each student. And then within within each student, we are seeing their goals. We are seeing their services. So that is just a snapshot of what their goals and services are. And then, like I said, that is in each student. We can click into their profile, and in their profile, we are going to have an at a glance with their IEP dates, annual review. We're going to have their reevaluation and their accommodations, and then we can add to their strengths, and that creates a IEP at a glance that can then be sent out to their teachers with a live link, and there's an access code, so it's private. And there's a way for teachers to then acknowledge that they received the IEP at a glance. Again, here's their goals and services. And we can upload an updated IEP. So let's say we have a revise IEP meeting. Some goals are added or changed. We come in here, we upload their updated IEP, and all these things get changed based on the new IEP. When you upload an IEP, no student information is uploaded with it. It is all changed to initials, as you can see here. So throughout the platform, we don't want any student names. We just are working with initials, and we want to have at least the least amount of personal identification information that possible. And so that's why we are using initials. And then on the bottom are their services. And then on the top, we can create interactive student practice, and we can upload the lesson plan. So if you are working in the student has a math general education class. You get the lesson PDF from their teacher, upload it here. You can paste the standard. We have Common Core standards here, but if you work with a different set of standards, you can paste that standard in here. The subject is optional. Service is whatever their service might be. If you want to do reading support, speech and language, or occupational therapy. So let's say reading support. And then we are going to list the goals that we want them to work on. So we can do these two. Accommodations built into the practice screen. So if they need text to speech based on their accommodation, sentence starters, we can generate a practice. We need to search. So you can either upload a PDF, or you can do a standard here. So reading informational text, there's the standard. There are the IEP goals that are linked to that we want the student to be working on. And then we can generate a practice activity. In a different video, I'll show you what those practice activities like. It's just an interactive link that you send them, and they can answer questions. And then it's going to tie back to progress. This tab here is meeting prep. So if you have an IEP coming up, you want to prepare for a meeting, this is the way to do that. Make sure you have all the information you need. This is the progress, and I'm going to show you what progress monitoring looks like. We have our assessment data. You can upload or add assessment data manually, whether that's star reading, star math, MAP scores, whatever your district does. Documents, you can upload student work, sample PDFs, or if they have a paper, take a picture of it, upload it onto here, and then you can tie that back to student their goals as well. And this is all going to tie into their progress monitoring. I'm going to show you that. Teacher input, so these are based on the CASEL SEL competencies, so self-awareness, self-management. I'm sure you all are aware of these. And then we can ask questions that's going to be sent to general ed teachers. They're going to fill out a form. And that's also going to tie into their progress monitoring as well. So the goal here is to get all of our progress monitoring data into one system. And then I'm going to show you how we can create progress monitoring, progress report statements from that, and then also present level statements from that as well. These are our session notes. Collaboration, this tab is if you want to send out a link to your general ed teachers, and this is a way for them to upload their lessons for the week. So you can get their lessons and then you create those student activities, or you can better plan for those students that are in that class. So you can collaborate with teachers. Service provider, if you are working within the district and you have a special education team and you have a student on your caseload who works primarily with a student who a teacher is servicing them, another special education teacher or case manager is servicing them in a different way, servicing them, say their reading goal or whatever their service minutes are, you can add them as a service provider, and then they're going to be able to input that progress monitoring data on here. So here's our SDI schedule. We're going to create an empty schedule. And as you can see here are all of our SDI minutes that we are responsible for as case manager. For example, this one is reading, pull-out minutes, 30 minutes daily, 5 times a week. So you have just 5 sessions that you want to schedule. So we are going to drag this to where we want to do it. So let's say period 3, whatever your bell schedule is, we want to drop that in there. So if we want to do that consistently throughout the week, we're able to do that. We can just drag and drop all 5 sessions. So we know that this student is going to be getting service minutes at this time every day throughout the week. Then for example, small group. So if we want to, then after this student gets services, we're going to pull a small group. We can add that in here. So as you can see now that these students are in a small group, the student is one-to-one pull out. These students are working small group. So you can build your schedule based on your bell schedule, based on different chunks you have throughout the classroom or throughout that class period. And then once you get that, that is going to then show up in your daily checklist. So you have a daily checklist that you're going to be able to track that you are servicing these students, servicing the minutes. So let's say that's done. We're going to do progress monitoring. His goal is to have 120 words per minute. Say you did a fluency read. So we want to say he did 110 words per minute. We're going to save that, and now we're going to have that tracked. We can say the student was absent. These minutes were done. We didn't record progress, but in our dashboard, we're able to see that there are 2 of 3 completed. 1 student was absent. And then our progress monitoring, we have a list of caseload students where we're able to see session notes, 110 words per minute. And this is how I'm able to generate. So throughout the quarter, semester, year, you're going to have session notes that you're going to accumulate. And then we are going to be able to generate progress monitoring reports based on those sessions that are being recorded. So now we can see that we have a perfectly parent-friendly progress report statement that we can copy and paste into whatever IEP or reporting system that your district uses. And we can edit it. And then as we are accumulating a bunch of data, whether that's through the student interactive assessments or the different avenues here of uploading documents, teacher input, we can create present levels from those. And all of that being said, we have our compliance tracking sheet here, as we can see by student whether their minutes were delivered for the week.